few months ago, I was on a plane ride to Colorado Springs, and the airline attendant got on and warned us that it was going to be a bumpy ride. I immediately started using all my pressure-free tools because I kind of get ride anxiety. I don't like bumpy rides. So I was using my tools, staying really calm. And the gentleman sitting next to me, he was a real estate investor in Colorado. We started to engage in a conversation, and I didn't even notice the bumps for the entire, 20-minute flight from Denver to Colorado Springs. It wasn't bumpy at all to me because I engaged in a conversation, which took my mind off any bumpiness that was occurring. The conversation started, I don't even know how we started, I guess finding out what each other did. And he said to me something interesting. He was reading an interesting book, and he says he has this fear about Alzheimer's. His parents both had Alzheimer's, and he felt that this was his fate as well. And I just happened to be doing some research on a field called epigenetics. Epigenetics is defined a couple of different ways, but in this particular talk, what I'm referring to is how our emotions affect our genetic makeup. Family history. So maybe there is this gene that could help lead to Alzheimer's. What I've learned through epigenetics is that our emotions can decide whether or not the protein sheath that surrounds that genetic makeup, whether or not it will open and release and express the gene. When scientists were first studying genetic theory and looking at all this genetic material, they thought that about 95% of the genetic material was useless, that all that really mattered was this kernel of DNA or RNA at the very center of it. That's the important part. But what they're finding is that all this other material has an incredible amount of decision-making, if you will, as to whether or not the gene will express. Let's take breast cancer. My grandmother lost both her breasts, but lived to be 100. My mother, on the other hand, did not. She lived to be 69. So both of those women had breast cancer. The statistics are pretty high that I might have a gene that could be a precursor to leading me to that disease. Will I get it? Won't I get it? I don't know. One study of identical twins, which means they have the same identical makeup, shows that identical twins on average die 10 years apart from each other. 10 years is a whole decade. If they have the exact genetic material, then why in some people certain genes are expressing and in others not? Lifestyle and emotional intelligence are the key to this idea of epigenetics, how our emotions determine which one of these protein sheaths are going to open. When we go into negative emotion, and when we release stress hormones, we create a very acidic body. Cancers thrive in acidic environments, and so do certain bacteria. When you're in a more alkaline state, cancers can't even thrive or grow at all. So how we think, how our brains work, and what we think about, and how we go through our day, with or without those stress hormones coursing through our bodies, makes a huge difference in what will express in us genetically and what will happen, no matter what your family history is. In session 5 of my course, I go really deeply into energy healing and into keeping our mind and body in our pressure-free state so that all of these diseases can't manifest in us. That we live a natural old age to an old age and die of natural causes at an old age. That's my goal. I would love to prevent certain diseases. Diabetes is another disease in my family. I'm part American Indian, part Iroquois, and that could be something that develops in me. If I go back to 2 generations, the disease had really taken over a lot of my family, and my father had it as well. Diseases I wish to prevent. Do you have diseases that you wish to prevent? Family history of certain diseases that you worry about? See if you can turn the worry into prayer, or turn the worry into a positive thought that I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be fine. Keep using your emotional capabilities to stay out of the disease. It could really be very, very helpful to you. And when you start using all that energy that I talk about in my health session, that can keep you free too. I'm Elle with Pressure Free Living, and I'm wishing you a pressure-free day.